You're live.
Live. Have you noticed that the live thing changed from the left hand to the right hand?
I did.
Today?
Today, it's new, I know.
I
I couldn't find it this morning.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. No.
Well, they're trying to catch us saying things we don't think we're allowed.
It's going pretty badly, we better get going, I got a long drive to the
Yeah.
exit 7.
Okay, we're doing FY '26 one-time requests. We went through the list that we had from the governor and the House. We had a list that we got from community folks, but I don't think we need to go through that. But if anybody on this committee has some of those, they can suggest. I have the UVM Cancer Center on here for 7.
Cancer research. No,
Yeah,
no,
cancer research.
Cancer is not
Different.
promoting cancer.
Right.
So.
So, do we want to go around the table? How do you want to do this?
Don't care.
Don't care. Okay, we're going around the table. Do you have any other ones?
I've said mine.
So the UVM and then
There is
the
one
college grant.
more on, and this is not a cost, but on the state colleges. Remember last year, we sort of dismissed or excused or whatever, 1.5 million of the structural reductions they were supposed to do.
Required structural.
And I think there's 1.5 to be done this year. So it doesn't affect the bottom line. It's just us agreeing that they don't, quote unquote, owe us a 1.5 million structural reduction this year.
We take it, you agree with that?
Yeah.
Was there language?
There was language last year. And also the numbers, yeah, the language had the numbers in it.
So you basically want to do the same language as you did last
Yeah,
on that.
yeah.
Structural
And so
change.
just for the committee, that would close out what was the Blue Ribbon Select Commission, whatever it was. The plan for the transition was 5 years. And this year, so we've done the last bridge payment. With this reduction, they'll be done with the structural reductions. And then we've raised their base to a level that's, it's not quite median for New England, but it's closer. And with the one-times, that'll sort of conclude our transitional work.
It seems to have worked, like this seem to be
Seems like it.
doing better.
And I would just point out that President Garamella, who is now in Arizona at another school, was a big skeptic and told me that it would never work. And so he was wrong.
He was wrong.
He's on, he's out of here. Okay, but UVM wasn't involved in this.
No, but basically he was of the opinion that the state was putting money down a hole.
You wanted it to go to UVM.
I
so it's
suppose.
big help.
Yeah,
Okay. And we'll go around the table, but this isn't like your only opportunity, so if you need to come back, we'll have other opportunities to add. Do you have anything, Brennan, you want to add to that?
I do, but I'd like to reserve that for the next go around, so I don't have it right here in front of me.
Yeah. Okay. Lon?
Just one thing.
I got a couple things. Obviously, we'll be bringing recommendations down from the committee, but we will have recommendations. And my particular interest is on primary care and the Maple Mountain program for family services residents. Very important to us. There may be a couple other related to that one. Then the one that we've been talking about on recovery centers, if we can get some language that support the recovery center $1.5 million. It is something that I think we should pursue.
So that would be additional? That was different than.
It was in the governor's budget,
It wasn't.
but there's no language with it. But you can't really put money in there if you don't know exactly how it's going to be used. So I'm meeting tomorrow to sort that out. If it can be sorted out.
The 1.5 she's of that funds. It's
there's high support services needed and lower support services needed for people in recovery. This would be like middle support services. It's not exactly like a Jenna's Promise, but it will be an expansion of services to help people once they're out of that acute stage of recovery. So, as I said, if we can get any kind of language that will support it, I will come back with that. I met with, the folks, Don Tatro being one, who are working on this.
So this isn't the recovery residence?
No, it's not.
It's
That's
something-
different.
This is 15 beds. It's
Right.
specific, a number of the beds will particularly be people that have mostly fentanyl issues that are coming out of corrections.
Oh, right.
No,
And,
that's different. That's the St. John's Berry one. So,
no,
oh, you're talking about transition.
There is a
Yes,
correct- there is a
that's
correct-
exactly right. No, you're actually right.
Oh, it is part of the recovery center.
So anyway, we'll
Would the
sort
money
those.
go to DOC?
No,
It
no,
goes to
it
AHS?
will go to, is it Rutland or is it another place in the state
But
where
is
they
it
are
managed by
ready to go?
AHS?
Through AHS, but
Yep.
I don't have any language to share with you.
And you're
exactly.
saying 1.5 million?
Yeah. The other one is something known as Quimby, which is like a Medicare shared savings program that we did last year, and we increased eligibility to 145% of federal poverty level for people who are over, I don't know, they're 62 or 65 years old, and it provides for them additional support services within the Medicare program. And it will, right now, it costs a lot of money, but because the cutoff point for this program is 150% of poverty, and we are at 145% of poverty, they have to go through a whole process to figure out who's eligible and who isn't.
So just move it to 150? that's
So
great.
if you move it to 150, it will save energy, money, make it more efficient, but it will cost, right now it's $416,000. I don't know what the final number will be. Those are
Okay,
a couple of them.
okay, and then your committee will send stuff.
Yeah, some of
Right.
these may be on that list.
Okay, Westman?
so last year, some of you might remember, we put $500,000 into the budget, one time, and I'd like to continue it. It's, for nursing homes to recruit, LNAs. If you remember, well, we did it, budget adjustment, and we've done it now, I think, to the tune of between 30 and 40 million emergency aid for nursing homes. It's mostly, in the last year, the budget adjustment had 16 nursing homes. We had done 5 more, so 21 out of the 33 or 4 nursing homes in the state have had emergency aid. It specifically relates to traveling nurses.
How much money?
Well, those are all the pieces. We put $500,000 last year into nurses for retention and recruitment. I've got a list of where they spent the money, and I can talk about that. The governor didn't put any in, and the House didn't put any in, but the nursing home spent $62 million on traveling nurses. If we can't get at that issue, and this is a pittance, but it's at least an attempt to try for recruitment and retention.
Yeah, good. Anything else?
So there'll be a couple of other things, and I'm not sure whether it will fit on the one-time list or we can get tobacco settlement. We've had a request from the parent-child centers. We have the
Yeah,
worst rate of smoking of almost any state in the country for pregnant moms, and that's $500,000. We may be able to get tobacco settlement money for that.
yeah, I have a sheet over there from the fund. And there's money in the fund that you're basically kind of taking away from some other program for maybe in
Well,
27.
I can tell you, we've tried for years to get at pregnant mothers
Yeah.
smoking, and when you're at the,
Whatever we're doing is not working.
whatever we're doing is not working. This is a new program that the parent-child centers, it looks really promising.
Yeah, and I like their home visits and their more hands-on
Yep.
approach.
The whole Dulce program is really,
Yep.
really great.
And a bunch of the stuff, I'm gonna agree with health and welfare that they're working.
Okay, anything else you wanna mention?
For right now, I think that,
Do you know what the money is?
save my $1 million for, my public
Medical
transit.
transport. For the Meadow Mountain program,
Yeah.
that's not a small number, right? If
No, I
remember
don't have the
reading.
number.
But it's like in the million,
It's
is what they want.
Is that the Maple now?
Maple Mountain.
Maple Mountain, is that what it is?
Yeah, yeah,
This is health primary care, do you know?
yes.
I just, what was said earlier.
The problem for them is I think it's $1 million, it's 800 and then goes down to 600. And then the programs becomes self-sustaining because the fourth-year residents are taking enough patients to pay for it.
Right.
The piece that we don't know is if you're in a service area where has a Medicaid population that, say, for example, if you're in Morrisville and you're doing this, the Medicaid population for RFQHC is 40%. We can bill off for Medicaid for that 40, at least that 40% of it. So,
Okay, well, try to figure out.
Yeah, it's not just one shot.
That'll be in your community
Yeah.
letter.
It definitely.
Okay, Norris gets nothing, okay, Watson,
Well, I get whatever he was gonna ask for.
you get the smiley face on the
That's right,
wall.
I'm stealing smiley face.
He gets the star.
So on my radar is the 700,000 for the treasurer's study to do the modeling necessary for the next step of the climate super fund. That's a one-time ask. And I do have a question.
that includes the position?
I don't think so.
750 is
No,
just like-
700,000 is just for the study with the modeling. And then they do need a new limited service position to go along with that. And this is part of my education. If it's a limited service position, does it go in the one times or does it go in the base? Or does it not?
Could be either, right?
Either
Yeah,
one.
I would,
Okay.
yeah, I guess if you could do a limited service in the base, but if you put a year limit on it, it's like short base.
Yeah.
You're like,
Okay.
the
Well-
position could still be there, but there would be no for 2 years or
You missed your opportunity, Bob.
something. Yeah, around the line.
Or cash for Bob.
What's in it for Bob?
It's all forgone. So, sorry, out of that, is it worth mentioning the positions for
Yeah.
one time? So, yeah, so they are asking for another 125 for the limited service position to go along with that. And then together with that is 500,000 for A&R and contracted services, and then
That's separate, not part
it's
of it.
separate. But it's still related to the climate
Right.
super fund work. And then there's I mentioned the attorney position previously, so I need to do that. And then also on my radar is the ask from the conservation
Was that
district.
500K for anyone?
From A&R?
Yeah.
Yeah, 500,000.
Yeah.
The conservation districts, they are bumped up to a total of, I think, 612. Their ask was 3 million. And just to flag, I mean, they're a state agency, like they're a part of state government, and I think
They're part of that, or they're within it.
technically, yeah, so they're funded through ag. Right, because that's.
But the House cut 112 at base.
Yes, right, for base, but their ask was 3 million.
Yeah, but that's not, but they cut that off from what the governor put in, and I don't think, I can't remember.
Do you know if they wanted 3 million more, or they wanted their base to be 3 million?
I can look back at it. I can circle back to this for you, but My recollection was they wanted 3 million base.
More additional.
I think total, but I'll go back
But
and find out.
I think what the House did is really cut them back, because I think the governor might have put
The governor cut it
500 or
back too.
600,000.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding was that there was already 500,000 there, and then the House added, or maybe the governor.
The governor had
Added.
the 500 and they cut 112.
Yeah, they
That's
cut
in the
I thought they added 112.
No, I think
Well,
they cut it to 12.
they cut them, but
It's in the base.
Where is,
Conservation, line 17 on the days. This just looks like the Kyle put in 110.
this?
oh, then they put in 100.
Yeah,
Yeah, the governor moved it from 612 to 500,
right,
and then the House put it back to 612.
exactly. Yeah, that's
All
my,
right. There you go.
that's
And
my
our-
understanding.
and-
So, but their ask was, quite a bit more. So,
What do you,
3 million.
Just 3 minutes.
Just gonna put it out there. And then, Serve, Learn, Earn is also looking for an additional 1 million in one time. And, I mean, they have another ask for base, but, so both of these groups check a lot of boxes for me in terms of, the mission, the work that they're doing, in terms of flood resiliency, workforce development, education, so.
it's, so the 1 million for Serve, Earn and Learn for is 1 million?
Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
For in one time.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, we added them to the base a couple of years ago. I remember. You know-
Yeah, I think they're in base. at
The
500.
hard thing about these, as we talked about, there's no quick way to look at it. So like for the
Well, meeting with
mere mortals.
Attorney General's office
I am a mere mortal.
No, well, you're in charge of,
Yes.
but you know how to get to the vantage report,
Yes.
figure that out. But that's
Last
the only
year,
way to do it.
they put money in.
And then, is there a way to search the
So
vantage
you can
report?
always.
I'm gonna ask
See if I can do it.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
full
maybe
circle.
I'll serve, earn, and learn.
And then we get.
By the way, we are anticipating doing a letter from the Natural Resources Committee,
Okay.
so
Some of
that'll,
this will be in there.
yes,
And that's
it's possible, it's also possible that, I don't know how it'll line up, we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay.
I mean, I reserve the right to have more later.
Yes.
So,
We should adopt Susanna Davis. We love to get things in there.
so the pilot funds
Yes.
go from, as a result of, 1% sales tax at the local level. But do we know what's happened in here? Because I just got an email from,
There was one time that was specific pilot funds.
and it's been reduced.
I just remember that they
I will
did.
come back.
No, it was the governor's proposal for one of the first ones we did. It was the governor's proposal to help towns that agree to buyouts,
Yes,
that they'll use pilot funds to give them that tax money for 10 years. That's that number 6.
and then there was a section on local option tax and the use of the match. Is that in here?
No,
No,
not
it's
in
not.
here.
Well, I'll have to figure out what they're talking about.
But there are a lot of people that are interested in the pilot.
Yeah, it should be switched to 80/20.
And that's in a bill, it's in the flood bill that we talked about.
Yeah,
That's in next door. And Collimore said they were gonna start with a walkthrough.
Oh, good.
Norris, you want your turn back?
Yes,
Okay.
you want my turn back.
the money's all spent.
I see that.
I spent
I
it
see
all.
that. Mine are,
You're welcome.
I wasn't prepared for this, but I had two, what I consider minimal requests at this point in time. I reserve the right to revisit this since I wasn't ready for this. We have a mail facility recovery residence in St. Albans presently. And we're in the process, I'm not in the process, but there's a group that's in the process of opening up a 5-bed facility, level 3 certified counselor there. The building has been identified, so on and so forth. It seems to be a go, but it's a 5-bed female facility, which would take care of a lot of things. It's a recovery residence. And my ask here would be 250,000, just in support of, the purchase and or, I don't know if it's gonna be for, people working there or whatever else, but
Who does it go through, Bob?
Hope Grove Recovery, you can find them online here.
But would you go to
through the health
DOC or
department.
health department?
Have they come to anybody about?
Yeah, me,
Oh,
I came to the
okay.
wrong guy, because I'm just starting this. We spoke about it earlier.
Yeah, we did.
I
They
don't,
haven't come, they haven't sent anything in.
I have everything from their business
They
plan
got-
to,
1 day, 2 days to get something in.
which would mean, something would mean what?
To
Into
her committee?
my committee, so that we look at it in context with all the other asks that we're gonna get. And it might fit in with, the recovery dollars that have been taken out or are still in. I don't-
So can she just use your legislative email when she puts this in and send it directly to you and you can disseminate it, or how does that work?
What she should do is send in a very short paragraph with a specific ask and the amount of money. She can break it down if she needs to.
Mhm.
That's it. And then she has more information that can follow, but we really want that one-liner to help, to put into our spreadsheet. And then the other information is supportive.
Now, who do you want her to send that to?
Send it to me and to my committee assistant, Kiki.
I can find that online,
Yep.
obviously. I appreciate that. And my second ask, it kind of runs into 2 counties and several different townships and several different 2 counties, Lamoille and Franklin County. Well, and many other counties, it's a statewide project, the pre-charge diversion.
Oh, yeah.
And I would ask for 600,000 to continue that. And my thought on this is, I realize that DOC is trying to open up something within their department or whatever else, but I'd like to address this before we're incarcerated, the pre-charge diversion, rather than to, it kind of makes sense as far as, saving monies for incarcerated individuals and keeping them out of the system, obviously. So this is something that we could help out,
This expands it to more
counties
So
throughout.
there's, the 4 largest counties in the state
Yeah.
have pre-charge diversion, and there's 1.1 in the base. To expand it to the rest of the state would be 600,000. We opened the program last year with one-time money, and they moved that one-time money into the base this year. If we wanted to do the rest of the state, it would be 600.
Do we have the workforce to do that? That's one of the
I
problems.
know in his county and my county, they're ready to go.
Well,
I can only speak for Franklin, he speak for Lamoille, but.
That
We
goes to judiciary.
both talked to the Attorney General's office,
And Will Farrell.
Willa Farrell, the director of my program, and they're ready to go, so.
This was Act 113 or?
You can't have
Doesn't matter.
those numbers,
Doesn't
I
matter.
can't remember.
Okay,
Can we circle back to me?
yeah.
Oh, time's up.
I saw what almost happened to him, so I figured I better get it in.
Are we going back this way? Cause I got a couple more.
We have also some that were taken off the list from the house that we should talk about. Yes, Brian.
So, a group that we funded with one-time money in the past, myfuturevermont.org, they received, in the past in 22 and 24, $350,000. And in 23, 150. So last year, I guess it was one-time money of 350. Are you familiar with that group? Did you
Well,
talk about
that's
them in here?
the
It's
same-
Advanced
Oh,
Vermont,
it's Advanced
Advanced
Vermont.
Vermont.
So that's on there.
Advanced Vermont.
Okay.
So I've had a meeting with them and
Right, he
it
mentioned.
seems like a really good program and it's well used and I don't think there's any money in it this year.
It's on the list.
200,000.
The House did.
Is there?
The governor said
Yeah, right
none.
at the bottom here.
The governor said none.
Oh, yeah,
But the
okay.
House did.
line
So-
47.
He didn't put any money in, correct?
The governor did not.
Okay,
But two-
The House put 200.
all right. So we're looking at 2. I guess my request would be to fund them up to 350, which would which have been funded in the past and were kind of shortchanged in 23. I
What
don't
did
know
they
the
do
reason.
again, Pat?
Huh?
What did they do again?
Well, they basically advocate and have an online hub for post-secondary students and stuff to explore job opportunities, educational opportunities.
It's a website.
Oh,
It's a website.
yeah, they're good.
It's free. Let me see. Meets the needs of all Vermonters, particularly those rural, low-income, first-generation, post-secondary students. And it basically targets, but not specifically, underserved populations.
Mhm.
And they work with other organizations to.
They do.
To make, yeah, I know, like they do with, I
Yeah,
think with Colorability and others, I'm not sure.
they're multilingual. They
Yeah,
present in like 8 different languages. And
So, anyway,
they were, did they have base funding last year?
when I said I only had one, I'm thinking, in conversations with the NOFA people, we're funding them, or the House funded them at 300,000. I think their ask was 5.
For the cap.
Yeah, and I talked to them about that, and it funds their crop cash or cash crop. Might have that backwards program, but they have a crop cash plus program, and I don't think the 300 gets them there. So I'm not advocating for a $200,000 increase, but maybe just bring them up to $400,000 increase, bring them up to 400,000.
Okay,
I do have a question after Senator White.
okay, yeah,
so, last year, and this will go in the whole food discussion.
mhm,
We funded $1 million through DCF to the food bank directly to our food shelves. And I am very interested in whatever we do in the food area to make sure it goes to the people that take the least administrative cost and are on the front lines doing this work. And I think that I can only speak for the food shelves in my area. They're overrun with people.
So Rich, there's food bank, on this list, you're talking about something different.
yeah,
We, last year, we put 1.3 is appropriated to DCF and families, for grants to the food bank. It is intended that the General Assembly, that 1 million of those funds be, used as direct aid to Vermont Food Bank's, network partner shelves and pantries. So this is food pantries and food shelves.
Well, we
In
could
my
use that.
area, they're all volunteer and they take no administrative cost, and they're where everybody goes in emergency. I will tell you, in Little Jeffersonville, there's 160 families that come a week. And,
Yeah, I'm just wondering if,
it's the last
you could
resort.
direct the money that you give to the food bank. That's basically what we did last year, I remember, because at one point we talked about giving it directly to the food shelves, but it made more sense to give it to the food bank and say some portion of it shall be.
Because they
given.
have connections with all of them. The food bank gives food out, and they give a lot of stuff that doesn't spoil, that is things you can buy in bulk. And the thing that a food bank will tell, or a food shelf will tell you, is you get people that come in, and that last week of the month, families run out of protein. And how do we create flexibility in those food shelves to be able to address the direct need of what somebody that's running, their EBT card is run out, and they're running out of funds, and they go to their local food shelf for help. How do we get protein? How do we get the things they need?
so you're suggesting that this 500,000 be increased and then language directing it to the food shop?
I think that would be great.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
To tack onto that, thank you for bringing up the Crop Cash Plus, because that allows people, as I understand it, it allows people to use their EBT cards to buy more than just produce. It allows them to buy protein at farmers markets. Anyway, I love that, because then it's money that's going back to Vermont farmers.
So these are the things that the House took away from the governor's recommend. The IDEAL program, which we heard from Director Davis today, I would like to add that back in,
What's the cost there?
220,000.
Yeah.
I do have one question.
So that's one. Let me go through these first.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's the IDEAL, then the municipal technical assistance program, the House had eliminated.
I love working grants.
I think that's the one I was talking about.
There was extra money.
This is the one, somebody asked a question about it. The municipal technical assistance program, it's $3 million, so I'm sure the House is trying to find money for their program, so. Does anybody want to make sure we put that back in?
I don't think it's that.
The pilot recovery campus startup, this is BDH.
I think that's is that the pilot?
This was pilot recovery
Yeah,
campus startup.
there's a $10 million surplus in the fund and $1 million's been designated for municipal flood.
Yeah, but that's the pilot
That's the
fund.
pilot.
That's pilot as an acronym. This is a pilot program. You know, like starting a program for recovery campus to do that somewhere. I think it's just it's a study, I think, the 500,000. But I think it goes to the recovery centers.
Right, it's already came out of the local option tax, so it should go back.
No, that's a different
This
thing.
is a different one?
You're thinking pilot payment in lieu of taxes. This is pilot like a pilot project, like a startup kind of project, like
Got it,
see if it works.
okay.
This is the pilot recovery campus startup at DDH. But the governor put 500,000 for, that the House took out. But I'm just gonna assume that if we wanted to do it, it would come up in your committee letter. So I won't add that in. Then the Brownfield Revitalization Fund, was that one when you talked to Economic Development, did they say that was one of their priorities?
Yes, economic development said they asked for 4 million. It was significantly cut in here.
The governor's put 2 million and the House zeroed it out.
Yes, and they had originally asked for 4. Brownfields is a big problem.
Yes, well,
I would recommend if there's any way, we,
Go with the governor.
what?
Go with the governor.
Yeah,
also, the House removed the Land Access Opportunity Board funding, which the governor recommended.
Almost
We're moved to
no
base.
Huh?
It's still there, it's just in base.
Oh, they moved to base.
Yeah, that's the note.
Oh, so is it, you're right, I was thinking that, gee, I don't remember them cutting that out. Okay, so those are the things, and let me tell you about a few things that I have on my list. Just so you can all know, there's $100,000 that the city of Montpelier is looking for to renovate or revitalize for housing, the pit, parking and add parking and I think there's that $2 million that's going for infrastructure for housing. I think this fits into that, so I would add it to that.
Is that money for a design or to actually?
The design.
The design.
And now that the federal building's for sale, they can work with the city and mutual insurance. They have kind of all the owners of all those three. Before, the owners of the federal building were not participating. So now they have a chance before the building sells to kind of like redo that whole parking area.
Yeah.
And might allow the Montpelier to take some of that parking out, put it into a floodplain.
Oh, cool.
So I hope to do that. Maybe some language on mentoring, access to other funds, but I don't think there's any money for that. The flood money that for towns that was in the BA, I want to make sure we get that into the budget. That's $1.8 million. The hold harmless abatement, if that doesn't get added to some other bill before the budget passed, we had that both our BAAs, people supported it, but now it's dead, so we need to revise that. There's in the flood bill, H 297 or whatever that is, What is that bill?
Isn't it
497, 397, they're up to high numbers, 397.
Of what?
There's, money to go to public safety for the community radio stations. And I was thinking we could add them to Van, but they have that as public safety to kind of help to notify these rural, a lot of community radio, rural area. And it's a good way to get the word out on emergencies. So that's 200,000. I was gonna see if there's potential some, local civics to support local media, but it will be small, like 50 grand or something. Find the wording on that, and I have to wait till next year. There's a transportation emergency fund that the transportation agency has for towns when they have a weather event that blows out a culvert or a road, but it doesn't raise to a FEMA value, so the town's on the hook for the whole thing, and sometimes it's gonna be like $800,000, and the town is like a $1 million budget, so they're like, they need help. So this fund, I think it's like $4 million that they put into this fund, but I was wondering about the pilot funds, if that could help shore that up, because it just goes out to municipalities in case of emergencies where they just need money quickly to fix a thing, and the FEMA's not involved, you know.
If we do that, could we add some language that they could, if part of that emergency in that 4 million, that they could buy emergency food with it? And then we wouldn't have to do.
Well, this is just for, you could do that, but this is just to make sure a road is passable, so they need it fixed, like the road is washed out, the culvert's gone, the bridge is gone, they need to fix it.
Well, we've got that $500,000
They
in there.
can buy the workers a
To
lot.
buy, in anticipation of buying food.
Yeah, we do have that in here too. So that's an idea. I don't know if we're gonna hear from judiciary about all the different needs of the state's attorneys and sheriffs. But some of that, I just wrote it in here that, you know, the different needs that they have, we want to have a functional judicial system. It seems like making sure that we have like the transport deputies and other things that they were asking for is, I don't know all the details on that, so I'm just interested in seeing what judiciary says about that stuff.
I'm sure they'll be happy with what we discussed as far as the 3 positions, combining the 2 IT and positions along with, there was another one in there.
Okay, so yeah, maybe that's sufficient.
I would like to give everybody more, but
Yeah.
let's be realistic.
I want to make sure we have the reserve language, how we're going to do that, section D102, but that's not really to ask for money, although I'm going to say that we set aside the 77 million until we figure out what the whole education reform is going to be and what we know about federal funds. So not moving forward on, not just saying we're automatically going to put all that to property tax relief until we know exactly kind of what the whole picture looks like.
Can I just ask, the House's bill, I think, is 117 million. So when you say 77 million, what?
77 million is what they put in the yield bill. That's what House Ways and Means put in for buying down the.
Oh, I thought they put in 117.
They did, they found 40 or 41 million in educational fund or something, I don't know.
Okay.
Representative Kornheiser found.
Okay,
Such a did, I
so
mean.
she's married a couple of times.
Right. Yeah, because if you do the after the universal meals, you need another 18 now.
Yeah.
So whatever that number is, it'll change because it's just whatever the reserve is. So 77 million, I use just as a placeholder for that.
Yeah.
I have a note here about E316, which I don't know what E316 is. Okay, what was your question, Mark?
Vermont Working Lands Enterprise Fund, which was signed into the law in 2012, Act 42 by Governor Shulman's commission. Evidently, it's not in the budget. I've been approached by some folks here.
They wanted 3 million.
They asked 3 million. I think we just, I mean, it benefits all 14 counties from what I ascertained. I was gonna call Secretary Tebbets tonight. I guess it goes through ag.
Yep, it's one of their most successful
Yeah,
programs.
it is.
It
And I
is
wanted to ask him
amazing.
what's going on with it, and I can report that back sometime this week.
Yeah, reports, like a lot of those base programs, since we get requests for a number, and it's always confusing to me that they're asking for the base increase or for a change in their base. Just like, but they say, what was the one that we were talking about earlier?
Yeah, what, 500,000
Yeah.
to 612 versus,
Right, like, if they have a $6 million base, and they're like, okay, we want $1 million, we really just want $1 million more. They'll say I want $1 million, but we don't really know what their base is, like, none of our sheets tell us that information.
Yeah, they want to appropriate 3 million to the working lands for the fiscal 26 budget. That's why I need to call Secretary Tebbets and say, is this their base, or are they asking for more? So I don't have that answer, so I'll reach out to him.
Yeah.
From his office.
Well, I would think one of the questions you might want to ask is would they rather do something for working lands versus this emergency fund that our ag committee has asked for at $7 million? You know, personally, I would, working lands is proven in and out there and working. And we're kind of in a time where putting aside money in anticipation in something that's totally new, I'd rather work with working lands.
Yeah, I mean, they have everything on here as far as where they put the money and so on and so forth. And
Yeah.
So how it compared,
The 3 million?
The House reduced it, I think, to $1 million, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Or maybe the House.
Oh, did you say there was 0 in there?
I thought they told me 0. Surely I could be wrong.
how does that fund compare with the ag viability fund? Because I
is
see all these
similar.
funds perking up to do the same thing, and I don't know whether they do or not.
Well, this is what.
Yeah.
What is the
I know
project
that
for
one.
working lands?
Working lands.
It's been one time. Well, you'll find out more information.
Yeah, I'll give them a call.
Okay. Any questions, Amy? Okay, well, we succeeded in going through the web report except for human
Human
services,
services.
which we'll try to do tomorrow.
That's the
What's
easy
that?
part.
That's the easy
Just
part.
say yes.
Just say yes to whatever the Western Lions access proposes.
Gosh,
And we'll go offline now, Senator Ruth, I got a question.
We're not quite offline. So then we did the one times, and then we will go through the base information tomorrow. And then I'll have JFO create us a budget so we can see what it looks like. And then we have to start thinking about
Cuts.
the cuts, because then we'll be way out of.
Yep. Is there chairs meeting today? I didn't get a text or anything, so
There is.
we must